Hi, this is Trey Pastor. Been doing reactions to Mr. Nightmare videos all this week, and today this will be the second video that I'm doing, and this one is going to be 3 scary stories that happened while watching Mr. Nightmare videos. Okay, normally when I do my reactions to Mr. Nightmare, I usually film them on the weekends, usually in the mornings, or if there's a 3-day weekend, I do it on a Saturday in the mornings. I usually just film in the morning, but this week I've been doing them in the evening. I don't get freaked out enough that. But I do wonder if I can kind of maybe dim the lights and all that stuff and set up an atmosphere. I'll try to work on that and see if I can do that. Okay. But anyway, let's get to this video. This is an interesting video that I'm definitely interested in seeing what happened to people while they was watching Mr. Nightmare. I'll be right back with my reaction. Okay, let me put my headphones on. Sometimes all I need is the air. I'm sorry. I got that song stuck in my head for some reason. Okay, so let's do this. Again, this is 3 scary stories that happened while people were listening to Mr. Nightmare. So, which should be very interesting. I like that's a nice subject. So let's get right to it. Okay, here we go. Right now, go.
This is an interesting topic that a lot of you have been requesting for a long time. And I've gotten a lot of stories sent to me that happen to people while listening to my videos. Also, you can listen to all of these stories, plus a few exclusive ones on Spotify, Apple Music, and Amazon Music by clicking the link in the description.
Cool. Story 1 by Joey.
When I was 15 years old, I would sometimes sleep over at my friend JT's house. He had this cool loft bedroom that was its own floor and was attached to the attic through another half flight of stairs. When we were even younger, we used to have big hide-and-seek games in his house with our other friends and his brother. JT grew up in this big house with just his mom and his brother. His dad has always been rich, and after his parents divorced, he still paid for the house for the 3 of them to live in. His mom was the kind of 40-something-year-old woman to go into town every night dressed in overly tight white pants and such. When I was 14, 15, I didn't really realize what she was going out and doing all the time, but it meant he usually had the house to himself weekend nights. This was one of those nights. We smoked a bit of weed and played hours worth of Super Smash Bros. Then when it got later, we decided to watch some Mr. Nightmare videos, ironically. We were on our 3rd video, Pizza Delivery Horror Stories. This, funny enough, made us want to order a pizza, so we called one of the only pizza places around us open past 10 and ordered a pie. As we finished the current video we were on, we started watching a Craigslist horror story video, and just as we were genuinely getting spooked by one of the stories, there was a crash sound from up in the attic. The sound of a box falling over and its contents spilling out. It sounded like plastic toys. JT and I looked at each other and freaked out. We went to pause the video, and JT screamed his older brother's name, who wasn't supposed to be home. It was our first instinct to assume that it was his brother trying to scare us, but that would mean he had been hiding in the attic for hours, which seemed unlikely. Given we were already watching scary videos, this only made the situation even more unsettling. JT went up the 5 carpeted stairs towards the little attic door and opened it. He flicked on the attic light and went inside as I stood behind watching. He immediately said he saw what it was. It was a box full of Hot Wheels cars that fell and spilled out a bunch of the cars. He left it as it was and said he'd clean it tomorrow. He left the attic and shut the closet door, and right around that time the doorbell rang, causing us both to jump again. I guess we were both just really tense given the vibe of everything in the past half hour. We went downstairs to pay for the pizza and grab plates to eat and stuff. We started eating in the kitchen and planned to bring the rest of the pizza back up to his room. While we were downstairs, though, we actually heard a sound from upstairs, like in the attic.
Oh, man.
The kitchen was below JT's room, and the living room was below the attic, so the living room had a higher ceiling. We walked into the living room to listen, and sure enough, we heard a faint bump that was just loud enough to hear. We again looked at each other with wide eyes. JT said there might be an animal in the attic because he'd seen YouTube videos where raccoons somehow crawl through a hole in the roof. He somehow convinced me to go check it out.
Why?
I'm not sure why we were making a joke of this. I think because neither of us wanted to admit how freaked out we were. We went back to his room together, and he gave me this huge flashlight. I opened the attic door, and he was right behind me at the doorway. I turned on this huge flashlight that doubled as a radio and stepped inside. I looked at the spilled over pile of Hot Wheels. Then I looked around this city of piles of boxes. "Why am I doing this?" I said back to JT.
Exactly.
And he laughed and said, "Just keep looking." I stepped a little deeper into the attic to look behind this tall pile of boxes. And suddenly, I felt 2 hands on my back push me.
Whoa.
I stumbled forward and almost fell, and I heard the laugh of JT behind me. I told him he was a dick.
Yeah.
But then, I guess in response to my sudden and loud stumble forward, something moved from beyond this other pile of boxes.
Uh-oh.
I stepped up maybe 2 more feet and peered behind the boxes with the flashlight, and I was petrified. There was a guy hunched over behind the pile of boxes, and he looked right back at me. I ran back out of the attic while pushing JT out, screaming, "Go, run." I shut the door behind us and screamed that there's someone in there. He followed me outside to the neighbor's house, who apparently wasn't home. We waited on the neighbor's stoop as we called 911. Then we called JT's mom, who seemed kind of drunk, and rushed home from her date or whatever she was doing. The police searched the house to make sure it was clear. The back door was left wide open, indicating the man escaped through there and likely climbed one of the fences to a neighboring yard.
Jeez.
The man, from what I briefly saw, looked like a young guy, maybe in his early 30s. He had short black hair and facial hair.
Yeah.
I was just glad this wasn't my house, because I wouldn't be comfortable sleeping there for a long time.
Exactly.
I know JT was scared to sleep in his room for a long time after that.
I don't blame. Story 2 by Katie Lawson.
I was on a road trip to Las Vegas one night to meet my friends for a music festival. I was on Interstate 15, which is mostly just desert the whole way to Vegas.
Yeah.
I chose to do the drive at night to avoid traffic. I left my house around 8 p.m., and my GPS said I'd get to my friend's Airbnb around midnight. On long drives, I usually listen to podcasts and such because I start getting tired of music after a few hours.
Yeah.
I started listening to Mr. Nightmare stories to pass the time, as they made the time seem to go quicker. Given that I was having a road trip, I listened to the road trip themed stories. About 3 hours into the drive, I had to stop for gas, so I added a detour to the route on my GPS, and it showed me where to get off for the closest gas station. It was a few miles away. I got off the next exit ramp into some sketchy-looking area. There were a few houses, then just desert. It was such an odd place for a few houses to be. I pulled up to this generic gas station, the only light source to be seen for pretty much miles. There were only 4 pumps total at this little station. I pulled up next to the one closest to the door to the inside. I went inside to pay the worker for the gas and buy a couple snacks. Not to use a derogatory term, but the guy working there seemed like kind of a hick. He had an unkempt, stained-looking beard, some dirty red trucker hat on, and the way he spoke was kind of creepy. But out here in the middle of nowhere, I didn't know what else I really expected.
Exactly.
He tried making conversation with me, asking where I was from. That struck me as him realizing I'm not from around here.
Yeah, duh.
I told him I was from Cali. I asked him if he gets a lot of customers here. Kind of a weird question on my part looking back, but whatever. He said not really, not my kind at least. Then he gave me a gross smile. I had no idea what that meant, but it sounded off-putting and like a creepy flirt.
Of course.
The man then looked out the window toward my car and said, "Is that your friend?" I looked outside and got a glimpse of someone walking quickly into the darkness.
Oh,
Looked like they were just by my car.
Jesus.
I said, "No, I don't know them," and asked the cashier what that guy just did. He shrugged his shoulders and said he didn't see. Being admittedly an attractive girl in her 20s, I deal with creepy stuff all the time, so I almost wanted to ask the cashier if he could accompany me outside to make me feel better. But honestly, I was creeped out by the cashier as well. I went outside to the pump to start filling up the tank of my car. I looked around the empty gas station lot. There was just a humming from one of the lights of the canopy above me and the sound of the cold night breeze. There were no cars or lights as far as the eye could see. Where did that guy go? And what was he doing? I looked at the window of the gas station shop and saw the cashier standing there looking directly at me. I wondered if he was doing it to make sure I was okay after that sketchy person ran off into the darkness.
Could be.
But that thought was negated when he started waving at me slowly. It was disgustingly creepy, and I wanted to get out of there. I paid for $40 worth of gas. When I was around the 30 mark, I heard something from the small building, like a voice. I looked over to the window, expecting it to be the cashier who made the noise. But he was still inside, just standing at the window looking at me. Then I noticed where the sound came from. There was a man peering his head around the right side wall of the small gas station store. He was waving his hands at me, motioning for me to come over. I'm pretty sure I saw a creepy smile on his face too. I started waving and calling for the cashier in the store. He didn't move, though. He just stood there, motionless, looking at me as I called for him and waved my arms. I looked back at the creepy guy who was peering his head around the corner, and he was still there. But now he wasn't hiding behind the wall anymore. He was standing fully exposed until he noticed me notice him, then started walking towards me. I removed the nozzle from my gas tank and left it dangling. I called at the cashier for help one more time. He still just stood there, motionless, looking at me. I felt my heart in my throat. This was a textbook scene directly from a Mr. Nightmare story. I got in my car and sped out of there, back on the basically deserted road, and eventually back onto the interstate. My heart was racing after that for a few minutes. Needless to say, I stopped listening to Mr. Nightmare for the rest of that road trip. I got safely to the Airbnb about an hour after that ordeal. I still have no idea what to make of it.
Very creepy. Story 3 by Ian K.
I rent a house in Gulfport, Mississippi.
Okay.
It's a small house, but perfect for one person. I live alone with my dog Gringo. The backyard is big for him to run around in, and the area is pretty nice. Right by the beach, too. This happened on a summer night. I think a Thursday. I had just finished preparing my lunch for tomorrow and finished cleaning up the kitchen. Before going to sleep, I laid in my bed and ironically was actually watching Mr. Nightmare videos. I always like to think these videos would help me know what to do in a worst case scenario situation like a home invasion or anything of the sorts. I'm sure a lot of people feel that way. But honestly, none of us ever expect something like that to happen to us. Sure, it happens to other people, but never you, right? Well, it must have been like 11:30 at night, and I was literally watching a video when the doorbell rang and Gringo started barking. Hearing the doorbell any time past 10 o'clock honestly is bone-chilling. It raises immediate red flags and questions, like who is it and what could they want at this hour? I didn't leave my bed. I was not going to leave my bedroom to check who it could be.
Good.
I was downright horrified just from the sound of the doorbell. Gringo is a pretty big dog, and you can hear it in his bark. So I hope the sound of his barks would deter anyone with bad intentions. But the doorbell rang again, and the dread of wondering who was out there and why were they at my doorstep became even worse.
Call the cops.
The doorbell was followed by loud knocking. I still didn't leave my bed. I wasn't going to go out there. When it finally seemed to stop, I felt a little relieved. Since the house is only one floor, my bedroom was ground level. My window kind of looks out to the street in front of the house. So I looked out the window just to see if anyone would be walking down the street. I stood there watching for maybe 30 seconds before I heard footsteps outside near the window. I hurried back into the bed to hide. Gringo was growling and looking out the window. I told him to be quiet. Suddenly, a voice broke the silence and said, "I see you. Open the window." The voice was right outside the window.
Jesus.
Gringo started to bark again. I still did not look. The guy outside my window said, "Hey, doggy." Gringo was going crazy. I couldn't realistically keep pretending to be asleep. I turned over to look at the window.
Whoa.
I was looking at a creepy man with his eyes open super wide, looking back at me, with the only thing separating us being the bug screen of the window. I asked, "What do you want?" And he repeated himself and said, "Can you let me in? It's cold out here." But it was literally a midsummer night in Mississippi. I said, "Leave before I call the police." This was when he tried lifting the screen himself, and when he realized he couldn't, he started punching at it to break a hole in it.
Jesus.
I quickly slid the window shut and locked it. I was shocked Gringo's loud barks weren't scaring this guy off. I asked the 911 operator to please send police to my house. And of course, like in so many stories I've heard before, the police showed up too late because the man was gone. He was probably on some kind of drugs. I have no idea what kind, but I could just hear it in his voice. And that comment that it was cold outside was also a dead giveaway. I don't think there was really any other appropriate way to handle this other than locking the window right away and calling 911.
Whoa, that's creepy. Oh, man. Whoa, that's creepy. Oh, okay. Those were creepy stories. Hold on. Let's see if I can close that yet. Put that up there. Those were creepy stories. the first one with the two friends in the attic. Like I said, these people are very, screw that. I'm not, unless I got a weapon, I'm not going in there. You hear something got knocked over in the attic, so I'm not going back up in there and investigating with just a flashlight. And then your friend pushes you. What a oh, what a dick. But that's, that's friends, how they do that for you. But no, I would have called the cops. I'm not BSing. Screw that. Exactly. Somebody obviously broke into your house. Okay. Broke into the friend's house. It was in the attic and stuff, and you don't know what his intention was. Maybe he's waiting for y'all to go to sleep or something, and is going to rob you or something. So it actually is a good thing, I guess, that he knocked over the stuff, and so you heard him. But once you heard that stuff, because come on, you should have known those boxes. The box is not going to fall over, especially it's in the attic. It's sitting on a stable floor. The box is not going to fall over unless the box is like on an angle or something. The boxes are not going to fall over by themselves. Okay, somebody's going to push, and I could understand thinking maybe it's a raccoon or something. Maybe a raccoon broke into the house and maybe knocked over a box. I can understand that, but I'm not doing no investigation without a weapon. Okay, I'm not investigating anything. Like, I'm sure there was a light in there, which they could have turned on. He's just using a flashlight. I don't know. Maybe there's an attic. Sometimes they have lights. I guess maybe sometimes but you would think an attic would have a light switch, so maybe you could have turned on the light. But and it was two of them, two teenage boys, I guess. So I mean, you got more of a fair chance, but still, you never know what the person breaking into the house, if he's crazy or anything, or if he has a weapon or something. And like I said, he could have been waiting for y'all to fall asleep and then come out of the attic and start searching for items to steal or something. Or heaven forbid, he's a psycho and you don't know how long he's been up there, and he has evil intent, even beyond just robbing you. Like maybe killing you on your beds and stuff. That, especially your mother being out, and that's just again. Hopefully, like I said, listening to Mr. Nightmare probably again had you on edge, and then your friend being a dick and pushing you. Oh my God, I would have killed him. But anyway, that was creepy. And then the other story with the woman. See, this is another thing. Again, she's driving, and I know you got to pull over for gas and stuff, especially when there's long drives and stuff. Even if you like fill up the tank, and she was on like a 4-hour drive to get to Vegas. So you got to stop eventually. But no, don't stop on those side roads. Okay, stop on the main highway. Stay on the main highway and get gas. Do not deter, especially. Again, I know I've said this before in other videos, I think, especially if you're a woman, you're vulnerable, okay? Okay, I know they say, women, weaker sex and all that stuff, but you are vulnerable to, and the guy in the gas station freaked you out, and then there was a guy around the corner, a creepy guy around the corner trying to wave you over, okay? Of course, that's creepy too, okay? So why even put yourself in that position? Do not pull over on these off-side roads to a gas station that's out in the middle of nowhere, especially at nighttime. Come on, you're a woman and you're vulnerable unless you got a weapon with you, okay? And a weapon, by weapon I mean gun, not knife. Especially you're a woman, you gotta have do not travel especially by yourself. Okay, that's just that's insanity. You're gonna pull over in the middle of nowhere to get gas. I'm sorry. Stay on the main highway. There's gas stations just off the highway, okay? When I mean off the highway, I mean near the highway where the lights and stuff, where it's a lot of people, not these off stations. You got to pull out in the middle of nowhere to get to a gas station. That's nuts. Okay, no, you pull over to a gas station that there's a lot of people and a lot of cars around. Especially a woman. I'm sorry, you're just vulnerable, and that's just that it could end horribly. Exactly. And the guy, she's trying to wave at the guy, and he's ignoring you and stuff, and you don't know what his intentions are. He's a creepy guy that's working in the gas station, and then there's some guy hanging around the gas station in the middle of nowhere, okay? And he's walking towards you. Come on. That could have ended really bad, okay? Really, really bad, okay? So that, especially a woman, do not pull over in a gas station. Stay on the main highway and go to a gas station that's around an area with a lot of people at, not by yourself. That's, you're asking for it. And then probably the Mr. Nightmare stories probably heightened your sense of awareness, which is a good thing actually. But you don't put yourself in a position where you're vulnerable. And that's like I said, unless you got a weapon with you, do not pull over no gas station out in the middle of nowhere, even if you need gas. No, you stay on the main highway until you get to a service station that's close to the highway, that's just off the highway where there's a lot of people and a lot of traffic. Okay, not when it's out in the middle of nowhere. You're asking for it. Okay, and I don't care how independent you want to be. Okay, you're just vulnerable. And I'm sorry, that's just man or woman, you can be vulnerable. If you're by yourself, you're vulnerable because you never know what's in the dark and you don't know what that person has on them. So I think that was, to me, that's scary. Then and then the third story with the guy, exactly, he got at least he had the dog right with him and stuff. And he should have, when somebody start ringing the bell like that, you don't know nobody's coming over. Call the cops. Don't just wait. He thought he could just ignore it and stuff. And then the guy started banging on the door. Then he came to the window. No, and suppose he would have broke in. Thankfully, you had that dog there, and hopefully the dog would have attacked him, okay, which would have been good. And he was probably, like I said, high on drugs or something, and he just, banging on, ringing bells, random bells and all that stuff, just probably looking for money or something. But that could have ended badly too. Like I said, suppose he'd have broke in, okay, and like I said, thankfully you did have that big dog, like I said, and. I don't know. You don't want to put your dog in a position to get, because you never know what this guy is, crazy guy high on drugs, and maybe he has a knife or something. Maybe it might hurt your dog and stuff. But the good thing, hopefully you had like I said, you got some kind of weapon by your bed. Like I said, I have, believe it or not, I have 2 baseball bats by my bed right here. I live on the 4th floor in this building, so I don't worry about nobody breaking into. And the fire escape is right outside my window here, and then there's a fire escape. In the other room outside the kitchen, but I don't worry about nobody coming down the fire escape in this building, in my area. I don't worry about that, but just in case, you never know. And then plus I have a lock on my door anyway, that I always lock when I go to sleep. But I have 2 baseball bats right by my side my bed, and I have also 2 little miniature golf clubs. Okay, so heaven forbid if anybody ever tries to break in here, or I wake up and I hear somebody breaking in the door and stuff, I'm picking up one of those bats, or maybe both of them, have one in each hand, and I'm going to town on them. Okay. So that's good. He has a dog, but he should also have a weapon. Okay, because again, suppose that guy had broke in and stuff, and you never know how dogs. He's sure he's barking because he's the dog, which is a good thing actually, but you don't know how the dog's going to react. Maybe the dog might run away, or hopefully, like I said, hopefully if he's protective of you, then he would attack the person and give you enough time to either run away but if you got a baseball bat, he can help you. The dog can help you while holding, by biting the guy, and while you go to town on him with a baseball bat or a weapon. Okay, so that's just insanity. Okay, just exactly, especially somebody's banging, ringing the bell and stuff, and nobody comes to your house after a certain time. Nothing good is gonna happen. Somebody's ringing that bell or something. It's nothing good. Okay, so you try to do the right thing by ignoring it, but then the guy, I think you should have just called the cops just to be safe. So listen, or like I said, but he's by yourself, so I can understand if you have. But like I said, if you had a weapon, you could, like I said, you could pull that weapon out and peer out the window and see who's there. Okay, and like I said, maybe call the cops just as a backup. Okay, call the cops first, especially anything weird and suspicious. First instinct is to call 911. Okay, and get the cops over there. That should be your first reaction. Then get your weapon. Okay, and get ready. Okay, in case you have to use it. Okay, that's I think. But those are 3 good stories while people are listening to Mr. Nightmare, and I know that probably also made him even more jumpy. Somebody ringing the bell, ringing the bell, then knocking on the door, and then coming to the window and trying to punch through. That's like I said, yeah, call 911, and then, like I said, you never know. This guy could be tweaking and on drugs and stuff, and could have a knife or something. Yeah, just, he's tweaking. And he's looking for stuff to steal. To let me in. No, it's Cole. No, he's not Cole. He's tweaking. He's off, his drugs obviously, and he's tweaking. Okay, but I got a nice cure for tweaking. Okay, it's called a baseball. It's called a Louisville Slugger. Okay, that I can solve. I can solve all that. Okay, with a couple of hits upside the head. But that's just me. Okay, I'm not a violent guy normally, but when you're scared, trust me, you'll do things that you don't normally do. But anyway, let me know what you think of these stories. These 3 scary true stories happened while people were listening to Mr. Nightmare. I think that's a really good title, and I definitely want to see more of those. I'll leave a link to Mr. Nightmare's channel in the description box so you can check it out for yourself. Also have links to my Facebook, my Twitter, my Instagram. Also have a link to my other channel, Paul Views and Opinions. Please check that out as well. Also have a link down below to my patron. I want to say a special thank you to my patron. His name will appear in this video somewhere. I want to say thank you to him supporting me. Always have my back. And again, my patron is only $5 a month. I have tons of content on there. I have tons of unedited content on there. I have Marvel TV shows on there like Loki, Hawkeye, Moon Knight, What If, She-Hulk, Obi-Wan Kenobi, The Book of Boba Fett. I have DC TV shows like Titans, Doom Patrol, The Flash, Stargirl, Superman and Lois. Okay, The Boys Season 3. I got movies on there now. The original Star Wars trilogy. Got Black Adam. Black Adam. Glass Onion. I put Up and Wall-E on there last week. So I'm definitely putting more movies on my Patreon as well, unedited. So follow the link to the Patreon, check it out. Again, it's only $5 a month. If you want to support me, and you get tons of content on there to watch. Anyway, also please give this video a thumbs up. It helps the channel, and I truly appreciate it. Also hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, so you know when you upload new content to this channel. And this is Trey Pastor saying so long, and take care.